Hello and welcome back to a brand new vlog. My name is Orion and I make this every single Wednesday and Sunday and I post them at 6 p.m. And today we have woken up with a little bit of a cold. As you can see, a little bit of the morning frost there. I am starting my day with a lemsip because despite working in the rain, the cold, the sweltering heat, my son going back to school is what has caught me out. Yeah, I have gotten ill because the child has brought all sorts of germs home. But we're not going to let that stop us from cracking on with this room, because in today's vlog the plan is to get skirting board going around the room as well as putting a new floor down. I have been out and bought these like really cheap interlocking like floor tiles that should be really easy just to connect on the floor and give us a nice like soft surface, so when we drop things we're not denting the floor. Because one thing I've noticed ever since I self-leveled this room is that if you scratch it or if you drop something, it leaves a dent. The concrete that I put down is really soft, so hopefully that solves that issue. And then hopefully the skirting board will fix how bad it looks all around the edges. And then if we have enough time, I am going to tackle the door, because that is something that I have still yet to do. But before we can do that, we do need the floor and the skirting on first. So with a bit of magic, let's get this room emptied. That is looking much better. Working in a dusty environment, however, whilst ill, not so good. But we have got ourselves a blank canvas to lay the floor down. And sod's law, someone actually reached out to me about a drywall sander with like a pole arm and a huge sanding disc on it, which would have been so good to get rid of like these lines. It has been my one only snag with doing this room. I think it is like come together quite nicely considering where we started, but it is those final touches that really do make a difference. Like had I had more time, then I would have sanded down a lot more and added more coat just to really get a smooth finish and avoid some of these lines that you can see in the wall. But if anything, it's a win. It means I can come back down the line and actually learn how to plaster this later on. For now, however, we need to get this room functional and turned into a storage room. And with somewhat of a blank canvas, it is time to get these tiles laid out. Now, as these things are cheap, and I'm not going for any kind of like checkered pattern or something like that, they all just snap together. It is fairly simple work. And because, again, because they're so cheap, they're quite thin and easy to cut as well. So I'll probably be using a Stanley knife to do that. But the basic premise is to connect them all like a big old jigsaw on the floor. So with that in mind, I'm going to grab the GoPro, cue the music, and get the floor tight. Me a little bit longer than I anticipated, but I guess that's what happens when you have to cut all the edges. However, 1 hour later, we have completely tiled the floor. I feel a lot better about it now. It is cheap, it does the job, and it actually looks all right, to be fair. I think I just need to get a mop in here because I'm just treading plaster dust all over it. However, with the floor now installed, it is time to do the skirting boards and to use a tool that I have not used in an incredibly long time. It's probably been about 6 years since I used one of these, but this is a second fix nail gun. I have wanted one of these for a very, very long time, including the first fix, which would have been used to do the stud work, like you can see there. Instead of using screws, you can actually nail it in with a framing nailer. Honestly, so much faster and more efficient. I have gone for a DeWalt one because despite being recommended by a lot of people to go with Milwaukee, I have everything DeWalt. Like all of my tools are DeWalt, and I have all the batteries for them. So if I get a Milwaukee one, I have to buy the tool, then I have to buy a whole new set of batteries and chargers. It's just a faff. So might as well just stick with what I've already got. They are super easy to use. You just load the nails right in, pull the trigger and push down. Ta-da! You can see by that very quick demonstration how much faster it would have been to do all the framing work with a nail gun rather than a screwdriver. So thanks to the nail gun, this skirting board should be fitted in a jiffy. And as much as I didn't really want to make a mess in here with the miter saw, it is going to be far easier to cut the skirting board in the room and then just clean up after the fact. So first thing we're going to do is take a measurement from there to that corner there and cut ourselves our first skirting. Then by using a sliding bevel tool and a couple of scrap pieces of wood, I'm going to find the angle that I need to cut the corner. Which on my first attempt wasn't perfect, but it was damn near close. Now it is time to nail it to the wall. Now I could use some adhesive to glue it as well, but because these will probably come off at some point, rather than getting adhesive all over the wall and the skirting board, I'm just going to nail it for now. With the first skirting board on, it's time to fix and nail the rest of the room. So here is what we looked like before. And after a few nails and a bit of a tidy up, this is where we are at now. So we've got the floor nice and cleaned. I'm going to get a cloth just to wipe this down because it's got loads of dust all over it. But the skirting board is officially in with the exception of the door frame. And whilst I was doing this, I decided that I actually want the door to open out into like the lean-to rather than in to the garage, because it essentially gives us more room in here. And I've had this door stood here for so long that I've kind of got used to the idea of it just swinging out and just staying there. Same with this door, swings out that way. That way you can just kind of walk straight in and have the whole space. It is crazy to think about how far I've actually come with this. I've just been literally sat on the floor relaxing because my face, you know, you've got like sinuses. I'm very much in that phase. My face feels all bunged up. But just kind of appreciate, I don't know what the right word is. Like, I don't want to be super big-headed because there are many mistakes in this room, but the fact that I've got it from like where it was before to like where it is now is just, it's just amazing what you can do when you put your mind to something. Now, whilst the skirting board is very much pinned to the wall, I do need to go around with some silicone or caulking and just caulk in here, so get rid of this gap at the top, then obviously fill over all of the nail holes and then give it a paint. However, I am not too worried about that because I had no more energy to give that day, so I had to take a break. It's actually been a few weeks now since I put the flooring in and the skirting, and I have come back to fit the door. I have been a little bit apprehensive about doing this, but I think I just need to bite the bullet, get it cut down to size and fit it in the frame. So the first thing we're going to do is make a measurement from the bottom of the door frame all the way to the top. So using my laser measure, 2.026. Then I'm going to transfer that measurement onto the door using a very nice sharp pencil, but I'm going to take off about 5 to 10 mil just so I get a gap around the top and the bottom of the door. Now it's just a case of using the circular saw and cutting it up. Okay, with that now cut down to size from top to bottom, I have sat it in the frame to make sure it fits, which it does. There's plenty of room up there. However, the door is actually a little bit too big width-wise. It goes a little bit too wide at the bottom, which means the door frame is ever so slightly bowed or it's not completely plumb. So because the door frame is slightly smaller at the bottom than it is at the top, I've put it in, and then using some packers, I have a good idea of what point I need to actually trim off the door. And then rather than actually using like a circular saw to do this, I have got myself a wood planer. Now this isn't an electric wood planer, you can just use a normal one, but I'm going to be using this one today. And basically I'm going to trim off the bottom of the door so it fits into the frame. Now this is going to take a little bit of trial and error and a lot of patience because you don't want to take too much off, but the basic premise is to take the markers I've made with my packers and slowly plane the door down, and then I'll probably sand it afterwards. Now I am going to be planing the side of the door that the hinges are going to go on. As this is a final finished door, I'm not going to paint it or anything like that, so it'll kind of hide any of the difference in wood. All right, let's fire this thing up and get the door planed down. After a lot of door back and forth shifting around, I have now got it fully fitted into the frame. There is a gap around this side and a gap at the top. The next job is to get some windbags, which are these things, which help raise the door up to fit the frame. And what I'm going to do is use some packers at the top so I get a nice even gap at the top as well as the bottom. These are really handy for raising a door when you're by yourself. So I just slide these things under, and then using these, you just pump them up until it fits and the packer doesn't move. Now that I'm happy with the door in the frame, what I'm going to do next is mark up where I want my hinges. Now, because this is a oak veneer door, I need 3 hinges, so 3 marks. Then whilst I've got my hinge in place, I'm going to hold it down and then I'm going to screw it in. I also do not want the wood to split or anything like that, so I'm going to be pilot drilling all of my holes.
Now that I have got the hinge in place, I'm going to be using a sharp knife. You can use a pencil if you like, but I'm going to score around the hinge. The reason I've done that is because it makes it a little bit easier to chisel this out. Then to find out the depth of how far I need to chisel, I have a combination square and I just line up my hinge with this and I can transfer that mark onto the door with a pencil. Now it's just a case of chiseling it all out. Just a little interjection whilst chiseling out this door. Make sure you probably wear protection because I very much just cut my finger, or gouged my finger is probably a better way to say, whilst using this. So yeah, be careful when you do this. Injuries aside, we have now got 3 hinges all flush and cut in. Now we need to repeat that process, but on the door frame. So I've got the windbags back out, I've got the door back in frame. I'm gonna mark up the door frame where I'm gonna be putting hinges. It's quite literally the same process of lining up the hinges on the frame, screwing them in, scoring a line and chiseling it out. With the hinges all chiseled out, I just need to now fit the door in and hopefully it swings. The moment of truth. Please shut. Oh yeah, that is nice. The final thing I have to do is fit this lock. Now, I have fit a lot of door handles in my time, never a combination lock. This seemed like the most logical thing to do considering how many people want to access this room. And it's easier giving them a code rather than lots of keys. I'm thinking it should be as simple as fitting a door handle. I don't see why not. Just need to spade this out and fit it in. Fingers crossed. Fortunately, it comes with a set of instructions, so I'm going to follow these and get it fitted. I did try to time-lapse it, but oh my days, what a, excuse my French, ball ache that was. I have now got the lock fitted, and it all works and everything like that. Just need to get it fitted back in the frame. Oddly enough, it didn't come with a strike plate. I can't see one anywhere. And to be fair, I didn't spot one when I opened the box, so I'm gonna have to buy one of those later. For now, I'm just gonna drill a hole in the wall and hopefully I fitted a door. I would laugh quite hard if it didn't work, but I did my checking first. I will be honest, it is a bit stiff to open. I don't know why that is, because it seems fine otherwise. I don't know if that's because of the pressure on the door or what it is, but all the same, it's locked, it works, and I'm happy with that. There is only a few things left to do, which is to put the door stops around the frame so you can't actually see the gaps at the top and the bottom and stuff like that, and it prevents the door from swinging in and ripping out the door lining. The original door lining actually came with some. However, you'll notice they're a bit short. However, this garage has been way overdue and I haven't got time to go source another one, so I'm going to nail them in and just get the job done. I say job done, but there's a whacking great big gap at the bottom and up the top there, but the door lining is in for now. I've only popped a couple of nails in so I can just pull it off and replace it later on, but it just acts as a door stop, so it's not swinging all the way through. With the door finally fitted, we are one step closer to having a completely finished room. For now, it is all sealed, stuff can go in here, but I do need to do the trap door as well as putting some silicone around the sides and stuff like that, obviously fixing up the door lining and the exterior wall. Lots of things to do still, but with the door on, it is finally ready to be used. Now, as much as I would like to get stuff moved in there and get the room completely finished in the next vlog, I actually have some major news announcements and basically a big life update that I need to film and share, because the sooner I can share that, the sooner things will start to make a little bit of sense. Like, I've had my teeth done, I'm no longer gappy. Spoiler alert, I'm moving house, and I'll explain all of this kind of stuff in the next video. There isn't much point in me carrying on with the garage conversion and the projects I have here until I update you guys with everything that's going on in my life, because it is next level crazy. There is so much happening and it's been a lot to process. It's why I missed a couple of vlogs a couple of weeks back. Yeah, I need to get it off my chest, most importantly. But a lot of the stuff that I'm doing isn't going to make sense until I explain that. So I'm sorry to leave you on a bit of a cliffhanger. I know people probably don't get it to this far in the video anyway, so it's mainly for the people that kind of follow along with every single vlog. But man, it's been a stressful day and I need to wrap up this vlog. So as we close the door on one finished project, or should I say nearly finished project, if you have enjoyed this video, guys, please do leave it a thumbs up, and I'd appreciate that. there is so much renovation and stuff coming up. So I really hope you enjoy this kind of content. I have taken on board a lot of feedback about mixing it up and it not just being straight DIY, and like they want to see some more family stuff. So I am keeping that in mind, and I've got a couple of vlogs coming up that will separate the videos a little bit, so it's not the same thing over and over and over again. So stay tuned for that. If you are new to my channel, please hit subscribe. We are for the longest time I've been talking about we're on the road to 25k, not thinking that we're going to get it anytime soon, but we are ridiculously close to hitting that subscription goal. So if you are someone who is new to my channel and you enjoy this kind of stuff and the adventures that me and my family are going to get on, then hit subscribe. We are literally, as I record this, like 300 subscribers away from hitting 25,000. It is mental. So thank you so much for everyone who has come by the channel. But as always, guys, it's been Orion. I'm going to love you and leave it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace, much love. Bye-bye.